But it's always been like a classic question of conservatives where it's like, okay, you guys want less abortions. We know how to do this. You do it through sex ed and you do it through contraception. And both of these things are things that historically, at least, conservatives have been dramatically opposed to.
The reason they care is because they want to control women. That is it. That is, at the end of the day, that is it. I understand the urge to engage in sociological analysis, but first and foremost, it is critical to understand the fact that Republicans are demons wearing human flesh. You know, you can fault Democrats for being incompetent or maliciously incompetent. I mean, and you can, and you should, by the way. I encourage you to. But most Democrats, you know, I don't feel they're actual envoys of Satan wearing human flesh.
See where
Republicans,
this is going.
however, this is a requirement for entry, and
I'd like to point out really quickly. People said I was being hyperbolic about his rhetoric. So
wow,
man, what a great clip! What a great clip!
Yeah, you made your video too early.
Yeah, what the fuck, Doomer? You need a part 2. Get busy.
Destiny's muted.
Should have learned a time.
Sorry,
I know.
Yeah, I saw that. Are we responding to chat now? Because if so, I've got a lot of things I could say. No, I'm just fucking with you. But okay.
I muted you, Destiny,
chat?
just to avoid the echo. So
Yeah, I got you. It's fine.
yeah.
Who knows? Okay, try one more time. If it echoes, I'll just keep muting myself in here.
I want it to be known, and I talked about this a little bit on Twitter, but I think it's very important to insist on this. Anti-abortion,
Wait, is it echoing now?
Pro-forced.
Yeah, I can hear it bouncing
guys.
right off that wall in back of you.
Well, I see it echoing now. I don't know. Okay, I'll just mute myself.
There's a little tinny sound coming off the saxophone.
Tinny, don't say that word.
Birth advocates do not give a single shit about the unborn. This can be evidenced in a variety of ways. First of all,
I will say, as someone who grew up Catholic and was surrounded by them for much of my life, they absolutely do care.
Yeah,
Whether you agree with it or not. They
of course
they
do.
really do care.
Of
They care a
course they
lot.
do. Yeah, they do.
what are two very basic, common sense policies that everyone who sincerely cares about fetuses would support? Anyone who doesn't want abortions, right?
Do we need to guess and then see how our guesses compare with
Sure,
him?
right? You got a guess?
I'll have to put myself in the Vaush mindset. It already tastes terrible.
My condolences.
Oh yeah. With him, I actually don't know. I was thinking that maybe we could pull some together, make a game of it, but
It's got to be. It's got to be like child care.
After is like if you
welfare
don't,
or something like that. Free
Yeah,
baby
something
formula.
something that he would think everybody would agree on, which is tough because you want to think that it's crazy, but he also thinks Republicans are Satan. So, I'm going to go with abortions allowed after second trimester and mandatory or like big what?
How is that a
I don't
sensible
know.
policy?
I don't know
It's
why he thinks. I don't know how this person I don't know.
Rags, we're using our brains today, okay? So
No,
please.
if we have to role play not doing that.
Okay.
Oh, that's
I
true.
got you.
That's true.
Then he thinks.
Oh, I
would
got
say
you.
that-
You're right. No, obviously it's going to be some sort of child care
I think
or
so,
free
yeah.
college or who knows what he's going to say.
Yeah, free child. Ooh, he might go into free college too. Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
And are we talking about why he's going to say they're anti-child or?
What?
No,
why?
the
why they don't
policies he's
really
going to say
care.
Republicans would be in favor of if they actually cared about fetuses.
Oh, sure. I mean, like these are going to be super standard, like Democrat arguments, not even wild ones. Is that like Republicans care about a child until the moment it comes out of the womb, and then they're opposed to things like
Right.
welfare or opposed to anything that would help like further along the life of a child after they've been born, of course.
Right. Free child
Right.
care. Yeah.
You guys are missing the
want
obvious one.
What? So we'll say it. Tell us.
Well, you'll see. I've
Okay.
watched this video.
Okay.
before.
Two things.
Sitch
You would
can't
want
cheat.
access to free contraception
Free
because
contraception.
you want every birth to be deliberate, because if it's
contraception.
not deliberate, that increases the likelihood of abortion.
Of course, that completely goes against Catholicism, but who cares about their religion?
Free
right?
contraception.
They probably don't care about their religion at all. what a dumbass.
Well, it's more just. I mean, the right's just against public funding as much as possible anyway, generally.
Yeah, but they're not going to give up their principles. What kind of person says, "Oh, here, let me give up my principles"?
I mean, I will say that like the majority of religious people are having premarital sex and stuff. I do think it's a little bit strange. If you're so opposed to abortions, why wouldn't you be pushing like contraception is bad and it's a sin, but it's probably better than murdering a baby in the womb. Right?
Because they can't do it because of their principles. They would look like hypocrites, and they know that. So on the down low, they'll promote it, but they're not going to come out and support a bill in Congress. They're going to tell
then it makes it harder to feel like you have a principled stance towards protecting fetuses. Like now your principled stance is going to be more like aligned towards following whatever religious idea you have.
No, they just circumvent it by saying abstinence only. That's why they are in the abstinence only position.
Yeah, but
I know it doesn't work.
Right?
I know it doesn't work. It doesn't matter though that it doesn't work as long as they maintain their principles. That's what they're worried about. I don't
even think they need to push abstinence only. I mean, people can buy condoms.
Right.
People can get condoms, relatively easily.
That's what I'm saying. Every Catholic family in America is telling their kids secretly, use condoms.
Well,
but they're not going to support a bill.
A lot of religious people are. They do have that bit of a, if they want to do it, then that's their right to sin or something like that. There's probably enough of them to where it's a sizable chunk where as long as it doesn't cross particularly strong lines, which I don't think contraception does for a lot of them, they would be all right with. It's fine if it's out there, but we don't like it. It's the right to do it.
There's a difference too between saying like, if someone wants to use a condom, that's up to them versus saying like, oh, my tax dollars are going to be paying for this.
Yeah.
Nothing less.
Yeah, but I mean, it's short-sighted because you're paying one way or another. You're
I understand like consequentially, but I'm saying like the way people perceive it, the whole situation.
How they imagine it. Yeah.
Factually, nothing lifts people out of poverty like capitalism. Do you think Vaush is going to go?
Condoms.
No, I was going to say capitalism. You think Vaush is willing to abandon his principles just because that's a fact? Of course not.
He's not going to accept that as a fact in the first place.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And you want prenatal care. Those are the two big ones. Sex ed as well. No, three big ones. Sex ed, prenatal care, subsidized by the government, free.
I got that one right, by the way.
The way civilized countries do. And access to contraception. Republicans support none of these. In fact, they're opposed to...
Got him. Proof. Proof.
All three. Republicans are against access to contraception. They are against sex education.
And they are... I don't know. I don't know about they're against access to it.
Don't you know that? The Republican Party hates condoms.
Well, and okay, to be fair, he did say provided free by the government. Okay, they are against
now
that.
He's saying I think
a lot of Republicans would actually say they don't want like teenagers have no business accessing contraception, or at least I've heard my mom say this a ton, and I feel like I've heard other Republicans say that like they shouldn't even be for teenagers. You're encouraging them to have sex and stuff. Maybe it depends on the flavor of Republican you're talking to.
Maybe, yeah.
I think the Republican Party
this is PolitiFact mostly true.
Well, yeah, but do we focus on like what we think like boomer parents are saying, or do we focus on what the party's actually pushing for?
I mean, the party's more productive.
Yeah, totally. Party.
Against any kind of
what happened to Vaush? What happened to Vaush here? Vaush used to be no verbal tics, none of this verbal garbage. What happened? I feel like the confidence level here has been eviscerated.
He needs to ameliorate his oratory.
As the preeminent expert on Vaush videos, I disagree with that.
Vaush, do you realize that you're speaking?
This is different.
Do you realize you're doing public speaking right here? Then all this.
You're being. Well, Doomer's saying that he was always like this.
He did
just saw edited clips.
He did it.
Plus, it's fucking hard. It's not. If I go back and listen to myself talking, I sound like a fucking moron. So like, I don't know.
Well, edit that shit out, Doomer.
What do you mean go back?
Positive changes to our healthcare system. They do not care. What is prenatal care? Care for a pregnant, like making sure the womb's healthy and everything. Making sure everything's going on.
I didn't know they didn't.
They do not care, okay? The reason they care is because they want to control women. That is it. That is, at the end of the day, that is it, okay?
This is...
That's
why is this so... this is so dumb because there's so many people. I'm pro-choice, but there's so many people that are pro-life, and they, for whatever reason, they really have strong feelings about, protecting the life of the child. I've never heard this, mythical Republican be like, listen, I don't give a fuck about fetuses. I just want to make sure the women.
Well, he's not making the argument that they don't actually not care about fetuses. He's making the argument that consequentially through the policies that they enforce, that they're essentially implicitly condoning, more abortions happening rather than explicitly saying, I don't care about the life of the fetus, right?
No, I don't think that's what he said. They just want to control women. They don't care about the fetus.
I know.
That's
I
what
hear
he
that
just
all
said.
the time about.
Yeah, he gets into weird territory there as well, for sure. But I mean, I think that there are it's always been a classic question of conservatives, although apparently we're not allowed to talk about all conservatives, but it's always been a classic question of conservatives where it's okay, you guys want less abortions. We know how to do this. You do it through sex ed and you do it through contraception. And both of these things are things that historically, at least, conservatives have been dramatically opposed to. Like they'll die on the cross of not having sex ed, good sex ed for kids or contraceptives available to teenagers. So, I mean, I think it's a fair thing to point out. But yeah, he gets into some weird territory later where it's it's just about controlling women's bodies and stuff, right?
Does anyone really, the average person, really look at politics in that logical, consequentialist way? Because I don't think that. They usually just rely on their their moral feelings to guide them.
Well, that's the thing is
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So it's not like Republicans are being hypocritical or in that they're not supporting sex ed because that would reduce, teenage pregnancy. It's just they're not even thinking about that from that consequentialist lens. They're like, well, I'm against teenage pregnancies. I'm against sex ed for all these moral reasons.
Right. I mean, I think it's fair to say that they have a position that's pretty stupid considering what you would expect to happen, right? It's your stated priorities do not line up with your policy objectives. What you're proposing is not going to accomplish. Okay, but that's
but I think this is
people for being dumb as fuck.
Yeah, it is dumb. People will criticize it, but it's kind of like Democrats who say they want more affordable housing, or progressives who say they want more affordable housing, and then they dick ride the fuck out of rent control, which is one of the dumbest policies of all time.
True.
Right? So people can argue something like, oh, okay, well, do you really care about rents? Because it doesn't seem like it because you're pushing for policies that don't help. So I mean, you could say oh, are you saying they don't care about rent? Well, no, they do care about rent, but it's just the policies that they're pushing aren't affecting the thing that they're trying to change. So it just seems kind of strange. I think that's kind of the overall
They think
point.
it's working, or they feel they have to go a particular route. If you're a conservative and you have a lot of Christian influence and you're a strong Christian, right? You might want certain goals, but automatically, to you at least, it locks off certain opportunities that you can use to get to that goal because of a moral reason or a religious reason.
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.